So I just watched a video from the Lore Lodge saying that David Paulides is lying about missing 411. And this is the kind of pedestrian shit that's dangerous, when it's either all real or it's all fake. And that's what they're saying. But they say something very interesting here. Let me play it for you.
That Paulides had left out a very important and extremely relevant detail in his coverage of the Aaron Hedges story. The missing person was actively going through alcohol withdrawal, was taking prescription benzodiazepines, and had likely been mixing the two in the hours before he vanished.
Okay, you can't be going through alcohol withdrawal and drinking at the same time. If you're drinking, you're not going through alcohol withdrawal. So this is where it gets really weird and murky, and they're saying, well, David Paulides reported this wrong, right? So it's all wrong. But they're saying that this guy was going through alcohol withdrawal while he was drinking and taking benzos. It's craziness, and he even backs this up in the comments. Someone calls him out, and he said, I said that he was mixing both of them. Well, if he's mixing alcohol and benzos, then he's not going through alcohol withdrawal, dude. It's this kind of pedestrian shit that's dangerous. I'm going to replay part of something that I posted a long time ago, and this is what really needs to be taken into account. This is the kind of shit that the missing 411 detectives really ignore. The stuff that they really, truly ignore. Let's talk about UFOs for just a second. UFO was the term, and they suddenly changed it to UAP. Why do you think they intentionally removed the word object and replaced it with phenomenon? It's to keep it within the rules of the con. Phenomenon means it doesn't really need to be there. An object is something that is actually there. Just because you see something in the sky, even if it's caught on radar, does not mean it is really an object. It can be a plasma. It can be any number of different technologies that they have tested over the last 50 or more years. You have to realize this. Stop being a villager. Now, I want you to hear a story from Missing 411, the UFO Connection. Let's check it out.
And he had some experiences, and he was allegedly told by a race of alien beings that he was to build a well, to dig a well on this location in or near Wheatland, Wyoming. He took that very seriously. He actually went out and bought himself a tank, and he got the motor off it to pump the water out of this well. But he had geologists and all these other folks tell him that he was crazy for wanting to put the well where he wanted to put it, because it was just a solid slab of rock, and there was no way he was ever going to get any water. But he insisted that the aliens had told him that there was water there, and by God, he was going to dig that well.
The aliens told him that there was water on his property, and he found it under a rock, right? Or in between some rocks. That's crazy, right? Let's keep going.
They did.
Boy, damn, you saying that this person digs a well and it's an offshoot from the Ogla, and the aliens told him to do it?
Yeah.
That's weird.
Now, what's really weird is they tell him to do it, and all the geologists and all those guys tell him that there's nothing there, he's crazy for doing it, and he digs the well anyway and taps in and finds the water. So the crazy guy was right.
The crazy guy was right. And there was water there on his property. So we have two grown men there on Missing 411, the UFO Connection. We have Dave Paulides and his guest talking about a guy who is talking to aliens, and they tell him to build a well on his property. He does, and there is water where they tell him to build. Interesting. The two men are talking as if there is no natural way that this could have happened. And that is the way they are talking. Geologists told this guy that there was nothing there, but he did it anyway because the aliens told him to build. Now, as an investigator, you have to ask yourself a couple questions. Can someone look under the ground and see what's there? Do they have the technology to do that? And have they had the technology to do that? And the answer is yes. They have had this for 30, 40, 50 years in different forms. Now, this is an interview with Dr. Nick Begich from 1995, almost 30 years ago. 30 years. And he's telling you that back then in 1995, the HARP project, or the HARP test, could detect water, bunkers, anything underground. They could see it, tell what it was. It was like having a camera that could look underground by bouncing signals off the ionosphere and sending ELF back down to Earth, creating Earth tomography.
And it's going to come back down to the Earth at a coherent, extremely low frequency. It's going to be running in the 1 to 30 hertz range. They're able to literally look down into the Earth several kilometers.
So they're able to look back down into the Earth several kilometers and see anything that they want. This is technology that they had back in 1995. Before that, well before that. But HARP was the big project back then. Now, as an investigator, okay, now we know they can see under the ground. So surely these people that are using HARP-like technology, HARP or HARP-like technology, can know that this guy has water on his property. Can people know that? Yes, people out there can know that. They can know what is on his property without him even knowing. So the second question is, are people contacted by others as aliens? Is there a history of that? And there absolutely is. If you've watched my videos before, I've played Woody Norris many, many times. Woody Norris is the inventor of a very Mickey Mouse sonic weapon.
So again, this idea of being able to put sound anywhere you want to is really starting to catch on. We've got the military had just deployed some of these into Iraq where you can put fake troop movements a quarter of a mile away on a hillside. Or you can whisper in the ear of a supposed terrorist some biblical verse.
You can whisper in the ear of a supposed terrorist some biblical verse. That is certainly the type of technology that they could use on somebody who is hearing the aliens, right? And he's telling you it exists, fake troop movements. This is why I'm telling you, you can't believe anything that you see or hear. When he's talking about troop movements, what does that mean? What does troop movements mean? It means gunshots. It means walking. It means talking. It means groups of people, the sound of tanks, the sound of vehicles. Everything encompasses troop movements. Think about that. That sound can be anything, or it can whisper in the ear of a supposed terrorist. So what he's saying is either everybody can hear it or only one person can hear it. And his is a very Mickey Mouse setup. Now they are using HARP-like technology for the same thing as they were using for Earth tomography, to look underneath the ground. It's the same technology, okay? So is there a history, and can you talk to people as aliens? Yes. So if you begin to look up the history of people hearing aliens, now this case I have talked about a few times because the guy actually kind of figured it out, right? This is the case of Greg Giles, and this article is called Greg Giles is Waking Up from Mind Control. This article starts with, "The truth shall set you free, but first it will piss you off," and that is very, very true. Greg Giles was a guy who was into aliens and the UFOs and all that. Well, he began to have channeled messages sent to him. From who? From aliens, from the Ashtar Command. And they were sending messages to him for years. And he finally figured it out. And I'm going to read you just part of his letter here. It says, "Hello everyone, I will be taking down this blog shortly in the days ahead, as I do not want to see anyone else entrapped in the horrible U.S. government PSYOPs program that had lured me into its trap some years ago and has refused to release its clench on me and my life. At this time, I am leaving this blog up simply to get this message out to the remaining visitors, and I will hope they will share this message far and wide and reach those who have formerly followed my work." The guy figured it out. It wasn't aliens talking to him. It was something else entirely. But he believed it. He truly believed it for years, and I feel horrible for the guy. So, is there a history? Is there a history of people being talked to by aliens and it's not real? Yes. Yes, there absolutely is. So, you can look under the ground and see what is on somebody's property when they don't know what's there half the time. Or you can whisper in the ear of a supposed terrorist some alien verse. So you have two grown men talking there, and they are talking together about missing 411 and the UFO connection. And they are both talking like it is completely impossible, one, to know that there is water under a big rock, and two, to receive these messages from aliens. But you have these people pretending like none of this can exist. It's kind of weird, man. It's kind of weird. But it's not just, missing 411 and the UFO connection. There is a movement of people out there who are hell-bent on either ignoring reality completely or just deciding not to tell anybody at all about reality, to the point where people are 30, 40, 50 years behind and becoming these ignorant villagers that have no idea what's going on. You cannot trust anything that you see or hear, whether that's live, on a camera, on a recording, anything, not just because of deepfakes, but because of weapons that are actually at work. And why would anybody do that? Asked one villager. Why do serial killers kill? People do things for control. All of this is one big operation for control. When Woody Norris mentions putting fake troop movements on a hillside somewhere, troop movements means gunshots, means people talking. This is what you are dealing with. We are dealing with a gun, a weapon, not mental illness or spooky spooks or aliens or Bigfoot. It's what it is. It's a weapon. And people are literally, this guy is telling you you can look into the ground 30 years ago, and people are still pretending that you can't do it. It is mind-blowing to me that people are ignoring this, like totally ignoring it. We are going to fall behind if people don't wake up. We are going to fall behind. And really, that's it for now. Look out for Charlie. They're just frequencies, dude. Man-made frequencies. That's it.
No! No, 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 no! No! Not this fucking time! No fucking way! No fucking way! No fucking way! No fucking way!
Let that son of a bitch dead. I want him dead.